Hi everyone. Today we are going to see Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali. I am Dr.B.Winmayil, Assistant Professor of English, Perumal College for Women, Virudhunagar. Rabindranath Tagore is a Bengali poet, short story writer, song composer, playwright, essayist, and painter, and what not else. He was born on May 7, 1861 in Kolkata. He introduced Indian culture to the West through his writings, especially through his translations. In 1913, he got the Nobel Prize for Literature for his famous work Gitanjali. He was the first non-European to receive Nobel Prize. He was the son of a religious reformer, Rabindranath Tagore. In 1901, he founded an experimental school in rural areas of West Bengal to introduce the Western education in the Eastern countries. It was founded at Shantiniketan, which means abode of peace. He was awarded knighthood in 1915, but he repudiated it in 1919 as a protest against the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. He wrote national anthem of both countries, India and Bangladesh. Let us come to Gitanjali. Gitanjali means song offerings. It is a collection of hymns written on God and offered to his feet. It was a virginal work which was published on August 14, 1910, comprising 157 songs. It was translated by Tagore himself into English from Bengali. In English, it was a collection of 103 prose poems, 53 poems from the original Bengali Gitanjali, and the other 50 poems of Tagore are there. It is a kind of conversation between poet and God. The God is considered as master, friend, lover, and the supreme king. The book Gitanjali deals with the God of beauty, wisdom, and perfection. It doesn't deal with the God who is in the form of rigid deity as prescribed in all other spiritual texts or by tradition. So it gives a deep connection with nature as also God. Let us see Song 50. I had gone a begging from door to door in the village when thy golden chariot appeared in the distance like a gorgeous dream, and I wondered who was this king of all kings. The poet here refers to the image of beggar. So the beggar is every man, while the king of all king is God. God is not only the giver, he is also a beggar. Let us see how. The poet is begging in a village, asking for alms, but he has seen a chariot coming towards him with the king of all kings seated on it. I had the king came down from the chariot and looked at the poor poet with a smiling face. My hopes rose high, and methought my evil days were at an end. And I stood waiting for alms to be given unasked, and for wealth scattered on all sides in the dust. The poet beggar felt that the luck of his life had come at last. His hopes rose high. He felt that all his evil days are over. He stood waiting for alms to be given without asking. The chariot stopped where the poet stood. Thy glance fell on me, and thou camest down with a smile. Yes, the king came down from the chariot with the all smiling face. Then all of a sudden, thou did ask, what hast thou to give to me? But contrary to the expectation of the beggar, the king himself stretched out his hand, asking for alms. The poet beggar was utterly confused. He could not make out how a king could beg from a beggar. He took it for a kingly jest. What a kingly jest was it to open that palm to a beggar to beg? I was confused and stood undecided, and then from my wallet I slowly took out a little grain of corn and gave it to thee. Then the poet beggar took out the smallest grain of corn from his bag and offered it to the king reluctantly. He is not in a kind or not in a mood to give, to donate, to share his own wealth to the King of all kings. To him it is a kingly jest to be played on the poor beggar. But even it is hesitantly he has given what he has in his wallet. At the end, the poet beggar returned home. But how great my surprise when at the day's end I emptied my bag on the floor to find a least little gram of gold among the poor heap. I bitterly wept and wished that I had the heart to give thee my all. I had the heart to give thee my all. At the end of the day, after returning home, the poet emptied his bag on the floor. To his great surprise, he found a little grain of gold in the heap of alms. Then he realized his foolishness. He wished he had the heart to give all his belongings to the king, because in that case he would have back his all in gold. God sometimes comes down on earth in the guise of a poor beggar to test a man if he is ready to sacrifice his all to God. So it was not really a kingly jest. Tagore's this song 50 is an allegorical poem because beneath its surface meaning there is another meaning, a deep spiritual significance. What God demands from man is complete self surrender. Man must make the supreme sacrifice of his complete self to God. Yes, give what you have, you get what you need. One who gets from you knows that you are God, but one who gives doesn't know the God is within you.